What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Behind me I got a 2020 CRV. The differential drain plug is stripped out, so I'm going to go ahead and walk you guys through how I repair it. Alright, first things first is we're going to loosen up the drain plug and the fill plug. Alright, next thing I got to do is drop this exhaust here just a little bit. I need to drill this hole out, and I can't do that because this pipe is in the way. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop it, just enough to get myself a drill in there to be able to drill that hole out. So in order for me to support this exhaust, I'm just going to use this exhaust jack. I'm just going to jack it up right behind this pipe here. And that's just going to be able to support it. That way I can just drop it down just enough that I'm not putting all this extra weight on the exhaust from taking it off from the hangers. Alright, now that I took off this 3 hangers here, I'm going to slowly drop it down, see if I need to reposition or do some more. I just need to be able to clear the plug. This is the drill bit that I'm going to be using. It's a 23-30 seconds drill bit on a Milwaukee stubby drill. Alright, so I'm going to use this guide here to kind of keep it flush on the differential, and that's going to allow me to get a straighter cut with the drill. So let's go ahead and get into it. Getting really close. Unfortunately, this thing is being a little bit more of a pain. Typically, you can drill right through it pretty easily. But I'm just going to keep on working it back and forth here. Alright, next I'm going to be using the tap along with this drill guide again. I know I'll probably get a lot of hate, but I just use it on a air ratchet. It's the easiest method for me, and I always make sure that it's flush before starting it, and I've never had an issue using an air ratchet, so yeah. I know people might hate it, they might say it's the wrong way to do it, but that's the way I do it. I've never had any issues. Alright, now we're going to give it a little clean again. I know there's metal shavings that go in there. I'm going to flush out the differential with a couple of quarts. Just flush it right through with the drain plug out to get rid of all those shavings. Again, done this many times. I've never had an issue. So next we're going to use this. This basically cuts a little recess into the differential. That way the plug can sit a little bit further in and not flush with it. So this, all you gotta do is just put it up there, put some pressure, keep it flush, and this is gonna cut a nice little recess. Alright, now that I got that taken care of, the next step is just basically installing the Time-Sert with the installer. In order for me to do that, I'm going to now flush the differential with a couple of quarts of differential fluid. Just that way it gets rid of all the metal shavings that's in there. Alright, next step is just to insert the Time-Sert onto the installer here. We're going to just insert it until I can't do it by hand anymore. Alright, that's pretty much on there. Now I'm just going to use a regular 3/8 ratchet on my socket. And we're going to get this thing started. And I'm going to run it down all the way until it goes flush. Alright, and I'm just going to keep on continuing to tighten this down. This installer is actually not perfectly circular. It actually has rounded edges to it, and the more I run this in, it kind of like expands the Time-Sert into the differential. Alright, so that seems to get a lot looser, so now I should be able to just remove it, and the Time-Sert, excuse me, should be in place. I do want to mention this is a Honda recommended repair. This is how Honda wants you to do it. This is what we do in drain plugs, on oil pans, and transmission pans if the threads are stripped out. As for the vehicle, customer had it done elsewhere, and then they brought it in for a differential leak, and that's what we found. That's why we are here today. So just figured I'd give you guys a little backstory. That's it. Got a new Time-Sert installed. Like I said, I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but this has like little rounded edges, and it's not perfectly circular. So every time it threads in, it's a little tapered and has little round edges. It just keeps on like expanding the Time-Sert in there. That way it stays in place. Now I'm going to go ahead and just run a little bit more differential fluid in there just to clean out whatever other residual might be there. As you can tell, that Time-Sert sits a little recessed in there. That's exactly how you want it. You don't want it to be flush. The threads from factory don't sit flush. They're a little recessed in. So that's how it should look. It's looking pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and reinstall the drain plug, tighten it down to spec, and see if it tightens down. And that threads in nice and easily, no issues. And the moment of truth. Perfect. That tightened down, no problem. Go ahead and clean up our mess here. Get rid of all these metal shavings that are around the cover. Now I'm just going to go ahead and refill the differential and basically put everything back together. Alright guys, that's it. I went for a test drive with it, put a couple miles on it, made sure everything was good, brought it back in, checked it out, no leaks found, so I consider that a fix. Like the video, consider subscribing if you haven't already, comment down below any questions you have, or if you have any kind of video ideas that I can probably make for you guys, I'd appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one.